All right, what's up, traders? What's up, tycoons? Super excited for today's video. We got to talk about China. Okay, now I just did a video. My last video was on China, and there's a reason being, okay, is I'm trying to spot, what's in rotation right now, what are good plays, and China is continuing to work right now. We see the FXI China Large Cap ETF up over 5% today, closing near 6% gains. We've got the KWEB, amazing day today, up 7.87%, almost 9%. I mean, this one right here was such a great setup, all right, for two reasons. Two chart patterns that I really love that we're seeing very evident here, all right? And I'm going to break down those chart patterns for you guys. We have the inverse bump and run, and then we've also got the inverse head and shoulders right here. So really, really great setups. This is one of the ones that we're going to talk about in today's video. We're also going to go over Baba, okay? Take a look at Alibaba, what I'm seeing on Alibaba. We'll take a look at some names like JD. JD is one that I'm in. We're up massive on this one. There's Baidu. Okay, Baidu's a little bit of a laggard, but starting to catch up here as well. So many different plays, guys. There's Tencent as well. I don't even know what the symbol is for them off the top of my head. But Tencent is really nice here as well. Look at these massive gains, right? Huge, huge moves from 32 all the way up to 47. Big, massive moves here that we're seeing on a lot of these names. We're going to break it down, okay? So let's start off with, the sector ETFs as a whole, and let's go from a daily time frame to a weekly time frame, okay? Because a lot of these are longer time horizon trends, in my opinion, in trades. And so we had the double bottom, right? So we've got our highs here. We've got a purple line here. This is an anchored VWAP. We dropped a WAP at the previous cycle highs in 2021, right? We know where our overhead supply is, and now we've got our key fib levels down here. So when we come in here and we zoom in a little bit, okay, and let's go back to auto here, and we take a closer look. What do we see? Well, we see we're breaking through a trend line. Okay, you can't have a trend reversal without a trend line break. All right, that's point number one. All right, so now we're getting that trend line break. We've got a double bottom here that formed. Okay, we had a bottom here, we had a bottom here, October 2022 lows, and now we have January 2024 lows. Came down to the same exact levels, and we're breaking through that trend line. When you zoom in on the daily time frame, there was an inverse head and shoulders here setting up as well. That played out very nicely. We'll go back to the weekly real quick, because that's what I'm more concerned of, right? Is where are these names going potentially in 2024 and 2025? And FXI, if this continues, I mean, we're going to have the anchored VWAP up here, which is going to offer some type of resistance, as you can see over here and over here. Once you start to get near there, it's very common for you to see some resistance. But a big theme with anchored VWAPs, okay, is when you're trading above an anchored VWAP, right? So when you're trading above an anchored VWAP, that means that the bulls are in control from that price point that you anchored in time. And when you're seeing the price action trading below the anchored VWAP, well, that lets you know that the bears are in control. And the bears have been in control for a long time in a lot of these China names. And what we really want to see is, can that tide change? So, the anchored VWAP right now is basically at 31. That's going to continue to move a little bit lower and start to actually flatten out here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see our anchored VWAP go in between, by the time we come up and test it, depending on how quick that's going to be. And if we test it, that's going to be from anywhere from about 30 to 31. Okay, so you do want to make a mental note of that. We have a little bit of a shelf right here, right at $30 that you can say is going to be resistance as well. So, 30, 31, I think you're going to be your next price targets on FXI. And then above there, that's when we're going to come up and retest this zone in here. Also the 38.2 fib, which is going to be right here at $33.74. So basically call it 33 to 34, is going to be your next overhead targets. Now, what happens once we come there? Well, when we come there, we're going to be putting in a base, okay? And so, let me show you guys what I mean by a base, right? So we've got a base forming here, okay? And what you want to see is you want to see these bases, break out, okay? And so we're still forming a bottom here, right? If we break through this fib level, the 33.72 or 74 fib level, that essentially is also our neckline for this double bottom, right? And the double bottom is much larger Again, in my opinion, a lot of these are long-term trade ideas. You can trade the short-term momentum, sure, for sure, definitely. But when you look at where the potential is, right, you're looking at a massive potential double bottom here that could take FXI back up to the 50s, right? Now, again, there's lots of work to be done. And one of the first things you're going to want to do is clear this 38.2 fib level, right? If we get a breakout retest push higher, your next target is going to be 41 bucks, okay? And then above 41, you're targeting those previous cycle highs around 54, right? So that's what I'm looking at when it comes to China, right? Looking at, from a broad sector perspective. Now, again, you've got KWEB here, right? KWEB, absolutely beautiful. Okay, let me break this one down a little bit more and let's go over some of those chart patterns that I was describing for you guys. Okay, so you can see here on the weekly time frame that inverse head and shoulders is very clear, right? We've got it drawn on the chart. You see the left shoulder, see the head, see the right shoulder, right? And we're breaking out now. Okay, essentially this little area right here is our neckline, and the projected move is going to take us back up here to $32 on the KWEB. Okay, so KWEB, watching this one to see if we can get to that 32 level. You see how we've broken the 38.2. All right, we got a little bit of a breakout retest dancing around that 38.2 and then break through the 618. Now we're targeting the 100% retracement. This is a much shorter consolidation period here, targets that we're looking at in the KWEB than what we were looking at in something like the FXI, right? But again, when it comes down to it, what are we looking at? We're looking for a potential base to form here, right? So we come up here, we say, hey, we've got this big base forming here. We've got, basing patterns. We got smaller patterns inside of this larger base here. And we want to see, ultimately, can we break above 32? Above 32, we're going to be targeting, 37 and a little bit of resistance here right around the 36 area. So 36 to about, $38 are going to be your overhead targets once we clear 38. Now, a lot of people are familiar with an inverse head and shoulders, but let's go down to the daily time frame and really highlight what an inverse bump and run is. Okay, this is one of my favorite chart patterns from 2023 that I really started to use it a lot on. And this one was pretty textbook, guys. Now we're highlighting all of these chart patterns in the Discord. Like months ago, 2 months ago, I was highlighting this right here, right? You have a prevailing downtrend. Okay, so that is your inverse bump and run pattern. And then you see this sharp decline in price here. This is actually the bump. Okay, so you have your prevailing downtrend, then you get an aggressive bump down in price here, and this is the run. We're currently in the run. Now, in a perfect world environment, it's going to take you back up to where this pattern began, again, right around $32. And we know that once we clear the 618 Fibonacci level, the odds greatly increase of a 100% retracement back up here to $32. And so, we have the prevailing downtrend down, you have aggressive bump down in price, and here we are, we ran through this very cleanly, and it appears that we're setting up for a move back to 3208. So that's definitely something I'm watching. This is a chart pattern that you guys need to pay attention to. I'm actually doing a sale on the Discord right now. Okay, I'm about to revamp it. We're going to do some changes into the Discord. So promo code Mayday, all right, just all caps MAYDAY. That'll get you guys into the Discord for just $1 for your first month. And then after that, you guys will pay full price. And so you can basically test out the Discord while we get the upgrade. After May, the Discord should be fully, upgraded, revamped. And you can, there's lots of really great stuff inside of the Discord there. Okay, now let's move into something like CQQQ. Okay, now this is the China Tech ETF. All right, this is one that I'm not in, but I just want to basically go over this one so we can chart this up for you guys raw. Okay, all right, and we take a look here. All right, we're going to come in here. We're going to use our Fibonacci's. All right, that's not the Fibonacci. This is the Fibonacci. Sorry about that. Okay, and we're going to come in through here, and we're going to go ahead and slap on our template here. All right, Fibonacci, boom, and go over some of our key levels here that we want to be paying attention to for, some of these big tech names, right? And you see the CQQQ, right? The China QQQ, essentially. What do we have? Well, just now breaking a major downtrend. Okay, so you see, boom, we're breaking through this downtrend now, right? Very clean. Breaking through our downtrend here. We want to see trend continuation. We want to see follow through here, and we want to break above 37. Right, so I think that that's the next move, right? Is something like CQQQ. Can this clear 37? If this can get above 37, then we're going to be looking at 43. Okay, 43 is going to be your next target zone here, right? Got a little bit of a zone right here that we can draw in here. All right, this is going to be a little bit of a resistance area. Again, right around that 38.2 fib. And then we've got something very similar up here. We come in here and, we're looking for the large trend, guys. Okay, that's why we're looking at weekly time frames, different things like that. We want to spot the real trends, the real moves, and that's what we want to trade. So I highly recommend, if you're getting stuck in a lot of your trades, you're not figuring things out, zoom out. Okay, when in doubt, zoom out and start taking a look at like weekly time frames, monthly time frames, right? And then zoom back down to daily, 4-hour, 1-hour, and smaller time frames. Right, we're breaking that trend here. Let's go ahead and drop a WAP. Okay, so we're going to put an anchored VWAP to our June 2022 highs, right? And this is going to give us an area here as well, right around $39 that we need to pay attention to. If we can break through our 38.2 fib, get above this anchored VWAP here, that's going to put the bulls back in control, dating back all the way to June of 2022, and give us increased odds that we're going to come up here to that 42.80, basically $43, 61.8% retracement. And again, once you're above there, then the odds increase greatly of a 100% retracement back up to 52, right? And so we'll come in here and we'll go ahead and just draw a little zone in here so we know what our key zone is right here, right? And now we've got something like that. So we've got 3 key areas that we're really paying attention to on the CQQQ. Now let's dive into some individual names, okay? JD, been great. This one has been a leader here, okay? And I'm watching this one. Really, really textbook, okay? I really like what we did here in JD for this inverse head and shoulder setup where it's a little bit clearer maybe on a daily time frame, but we had a clean breakout, right? So we basically formed a small base here, right? And what do we end up seeing? Let me get a different drawing tool real quick. So, here's our resistance level. Here's our base. Break out of that base, retest this level, and then we just completely blasted off here. Really, really great setup. We're approaching our target here on JD of $34. Above 34, we're going to be looking at 42. Now, let's zoom out a little bit more even, okay? And let's take a look at this. And what do we see? We see a massive falling wedge here, okay? Very well respected. You take a look at where a lot of these trend lines have touched and where they've met, and it's looking really good, right? You've got your initial touch here, another touch here, another touch here. And, we're starting to form a bottom here before we even, came back and retested that trend line. So that was really nice. And now we're going to see, hey, do we break out of here? Well, again, above 34, we're looking at 42, but above 42, we're looking at 55 and then 76. And then ultimately a retest of some of these highs over here. So, this could be a really big potential trade if this plays out, right? But this is, again, a weekly time frame. This is about a 3 or 4 year chart pattern right here. So you're not going to expect this chart pattern to play out in 3 months, right? Or even 6 months and come all the way back up here into the hundreds, right? That's a perfect world scenario. It's very likely that we get some type of a breakout here, come around that 42 level, get near there. And then we want to see, do we retest this 34 level, or do we retest this trend line here and get some follow through and then break out past 42 and continue to move higher, right? When we come here and we take a look at where we've got our anchored VWAP, right? We've got our anchored VWAP here at the IPO price, okay? So basically the first trading price of this stock on the New York Stock Exchange lines up perfectly with that 100% retracement right now at 42, right? If we were to come in here and drop another WAP, right, at the cycle highs over here back in February of 2021, we can see that that's right around the 1618 Fibonacci extension. If we continue in an upwards movement, this will start to flatten out and potentially even start to curl upwards if we can get above there, right? So JD, I really like this one, almost up 200% on 2025 contracts on JD right now. Baidu is another one. I just rolled some Baidu contracts last week. And it's playing out really, really good, right? We've got some March 2025 call options on Baidu. And I really like what I'm seeing here as well. Okay, so again, guys, I'm seeing multiple chart patterns. I love it when I see multiple chart patterns, not just one. Now, what am I looking at? Well, that inverse bump and run, right? We have the prevailing downtrend, and then we got this really aggressive bump down. The run, as you guys saw in FXI, in a perfect world scenario, it's going to take you to that second trend line here, and then you're going to break through that second trend line and head back up to where the pattern began. It appears we're on the verge of doing so, right? But in that inverse bump and run pattern, right, with our bump trend line here, we also formed a falling wedge. Now you see these little oops right here. These are something that I've brought up more and more throughout this year. These are what's known as false moves, okay? And false moves can lead to very fast moves, right? What do I mean by that? Well, we have demand, right? We've got established demand as highlighted by all these arrows here and all these different occurrences. And what do? We see a quick flush through demand, but no follow through, right? When we come back and retest this area, this is where bears, this is where bears are supposed to come in here, attack this from a short position and get that break retest and push lower and clear lower lows to establish a continuation of the downtrend. What do we see? We see a false move. We actually come in here and make higher highs, right? Highs, higher highs. And that's something that I highlighted over here is, hey, we've got this falling wedge. We've got the inverse bump and run, right? And we're looking now for a little bit of an oops and see if we can get breakthrough and follow through, because we know that false moves can lead to fast moves. And we've seen a very fast move in something like BUUU from $94 all the way up here to 111. So again, more chart patterns that are, posted in the Discord for you guys. That's where you get access to all these different types of analysis. Now let's look at BABA. And BABA, I don't really trade this one anymore. All right, there's some other names that I like trading because, I've got a little bit of a personal, bias towards BABA. And so whenever I have those type of biases or things like that, I tend to stay away from them, right? But what I want to highlight here is something pretty simple, right? And it's basically the 3 stages of a reversal. Now, again, remember, these are very long time frame charts, right? This is a 4-year downtrend, 3-4-year downtrend that we established here on something like BABA. But there's 3 stages, okay? And so, stage 1 is going to be the downtrend, right? So we've got stage 1 right over here. Here's our downtrend, 3-4 years. And stage 2 is going to be box consolidation, right? And this is basically where price consolidates, absorbs buyers and sellers. And that's what we're in right now. We're still in box consolidation. Okay, so we're consolidating here. Stage 3 is going to be the reversal. So if BABA ultimately can start to trade above 120, there's lots of upside potential in the future. Now, this is potentially going to take a year. This is potentially going to take years and years for this to reverse, if it is going to be some type of reversal. But there's lots of upside potential once you get above 120. I mean, you're looking at, 200, 250, 300 potentially as some targets to the upside for BABA on these much larger time frames. So that's it. I basically just wanted to highlight China for you guys. Let me know what it is that you guys are trading down below. I really like SE. Okay. Now this one I think is like Singapore or maybe Thailand or something like that. It's not necessarily China, but it is that Asia market. And we'll go ahead and chart this up here and just throw on some additional drawings here, right? So we got a prevailing downtrend here. Okay. And then we've got an aggressive bump down in price. These trend lines right here. So prevailing downtrend, aggressive bump down. We kind of break through here. It's not the cleanest inverse bump and run. Okay. But what we do have again is a clean base, right? And it's a smaller base this time, but we're getting follow through and we're actually forming a new pattern right now known as a J hook. Right. And so if we take a look here, this is what we're seeing, right? We're seeing a base, and a lot of these names are seeing larger bases, right? Multi-year bases. This is about a 6-month base, 6 to 8 month base or something like that. We clearly break the trend here, break out, retest this trend line, explode upwards, very, very clean, very textbook. Here's that neckline of our base right here. And what we're forming now is a J hook. So we're looking for continuation now up past 68. Okay. And a J hook pattern gets its name from, exactly what it sounds like, right? So you see how we have this little base here, and now we're breaking out confirmation. And again, this is a weekly time frame in particular here. So confirmation is going to be a breakout above 63. Basically a weekly close above 63. That's going to give us our J hook pattern and take us above $68, right? And then once we get above 68, we're going to look for the J hook potentially to retest this 68 level, come up here, test this trend line, and then it's just a matter of, okay, what's going to happen here up at this shorter term trend line? Are we going to, come up here, reject again, retest that 68, or can we get the breakout retest here and a move back up to $89? Really big moves, guys. We're talking about a stock going from $55 to $89 in a relatively short amount of time here. Potentially, if this J hook can play out and we get some type of movement here like this. So these are a lot of the names that I'm watching. These are names that I think you guys need to continue watching. You don't need to force an entry right here, but what I do think you should do is, find some ways where you can get a good risk reward ratio or risk, setup that follows you guys' risk profile. Okay. And, one concept to think about here is, what if this starts to form an inverse head and shoulders? Okay, I don't want to sound too much like a broken record, right? But what if this is a left shoulder? This is our head right here, and maybe we don't get follow through on this J hook. Maybe we actually get a little bit of consolidation here. And what does that do? Well, that ends up forming our right shoulder for an inverse head and shoulder. And then 68 becomes your neckline. And you're looking for a move all the way back up again from 89 all the way back to about 92. That's a really good trade right there, right? And that's a really good opportunity. So, keep these stocks on your radars. They will present opportunities. You just have to pay attention and listen to the market and be ready to catch them whenever they do present you those opportunities. As always though, guys, the content provided on this channel was just for informational and educational purposes only. It's not intended to be relied upon as legal, financial, or investment advice. So be sure to read through this disclaimer here. If you're new to the channel, I started a completely free newsletter for you guys called Investment Intelligence. I'm planning to get this ramped up here as well. Once I have the new Discord upgraded, I'll be sending out a lot more newsletters. There is a website associated with it. And so I'll start putting out some scheduled posts. I'm thinking about Wednesdays and Sundays. And then periodically I'll sprinkle in some trade ideas. I do try to sprinkle in about one trade idea a week in there. That's completely for free. So you can monitor that via the website or have those sent directly to your email inbox. The link is in the description for that. Don't forget, you can join the Investment Intelligence Discord. Okay, that's where you get access to all my analysis, all my different trade ideas, different plays and setups, all my research basically, right? You get full access to all my research. That's only $10 a month right now. The price of that is going up after May, all right, maybe towards the later half of May. The price of that is going to be jumping up, but you guys can get in for just $1 right now. Okay. While I'm revamping the Discord and getting everything ready for the next upgrade, code Mayday, MAYDAY, is going to be good, and that'll be good for all of May to get you guys in for just $1. And then after that, it's going to be full price for each month. These are what the analysis looked like, right? Highlighting some trade ideas. This is one on Tilray talking about, hey, we're getting above that anchored VWAP. As I explained in the video, once you're above the anchored VWAP, it means the bulls are finally in control. There was a nice 3-to-1 risk reward ratio targeting 254. The stock went much higher than 254. And the last couple of runners on Tilray did really, really good. XLE, Energy, VLO, Valero, Energy play. So we're looking at this one in the 140s, 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, went way past 140, and our bullish price target at 166, went all the way up into the 180s. Another really great play where, the runners really ran away on some of these trades. So yeah, the link is in the description for that. Sign up. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video, and I'm out.